VIDEOTECH.
Okay, hello and welcome to another episode of Return to VideoTech, the show where two dudes break down the movies we love and share our affection for physical media with you. Spooky season has begun, and so on this episode, we're diving into a mostly family-friendly Halloween time classic, Ghostbusters. We'll also be discussing a bunch of other horror-themed movies, and we have a lot to get into, so without further ado, I'm Keith, and with me as always is my friend, co-host, and man with no dick, Matt. How's it going, dude?
Excellent. We've graduated from dinguses to dudes, I see.
Yes.
Wow. This is a big day. I'm glad that
Well,
we were
there was
able
some
to.
confusion on the proper plural form of dingus in a
Yeah,
couple episodes ago. So
I think you just roll with it.
yeah,
You inspired me to use dinguses. It might show up in my little written piece later. So
okay,
I'm stoked that we're back at it this quick. You know, we definitely pull back at times, but then we feel, our work ethic catches up with us and we're like, no, we got to get to it. Plus, this is the time of the year. It's just the giving season when it comes to movies. There's just so much to choose from in the horror spooky season realm. And even like trying to come up with homework for you, like there's just so many like tangential. There's definitely like the clear horror movies, but you get into like psychological thrillers, weird movies that like
Mhm.
maybe wouldn't qualify as like a true horror, but like a cousin of a horror movie, maybe.
Yeah. I was definitely thinking that as I was watching the one that you assigned me.
Yeah,
And full disclosure, I kind of just like gave you a bunch of options. I was like,
yeah.
here's a bunch of movies that I have that I haven't watched yet that I think you've seen.
Well, it's hard for me. This category is tough because this is like probably your thing more than me. Horror movies.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we say that, but you are pretty big into horror too.
That
I
is
mean,
true. That's true.
and
I
I'm
know.
no expert, so
I know. But I just always feel like movies like Chillerama.
Uh, well, that's from my time living with Burton. That's where I get all these.
Okay, well, I did not make it to the theater, although I think I'm gonna go tomorrow. I might see that new Derek Cianfrance movie actually, which is so weird. Like picking the place beyond the pines was just completely random, and then like he has a movie out now for
Yeah.
the first time in like 10 years. Um,
Mhm.
so I might see that, or I might see the Safdie The Rock movie. Is it the
Mhm.
Smashing Machine? I can't remember exactly the
Yeah,
name of
the
it.
Smashing Machine. I heard that's not doing too well,
Isn't
so
it? Okay. Well, I'm
support it, I
interested.
guess.
I'm interested. And although I also might just go see one battle after another again yet. So it's down to those three.
Your
Um,
shirt that you're wearing today almost looks kind of like the robe, and it's unbuttoned and whatnot.
oh,
I've
what, this?
seen a
Yeah,
couple people already dressing up as Bob for Halloween
I
or
see.
at Comic-Con or something I saw
Yeah.
pictures from, but yeah.
Uh, I assume you haven't made it to the theater in the week since we last recorded. Is that
No, but I guess I could mention quickly. We didn't talk about it in the last episode, but I went to the theaters another time before our last episode. I just didn't bring it up because we were trying to get through it, I think.
yeah.
But I went to see the new Conjuring movie,
Oh, fun.
uh, which was okay. It
Yeah.
felt to me, just real quick, it felt to me like they were trying to bring back the magic of the original. Like there was a lot of parallels
Yeah.
where like it's a small house with like a big family and a big part of the movie was actually like there about the Warrens' daughter who's like an adult now,
Okay.
and there was a lot of like family stuff in it. So um,
It seemed
yeah,
intense. The trailer seemed like there might be some crazy jump scares in it.
yeah, I thought it was all right.
Yeah.
The end was kind of a wet fart to
Oh,
me.
really?
I wasn't I
That's a
wasn't.
shame.
It was kind of like forgettable, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it's really tough to recapture. It's weird that that kind of became like a franchise. I think it was sort of a unexpected huge hit, the
hmm
first one, and they went on to make what was this? Is this the fourth one?
This is the fourth one,
Yeah,
yeah. But there's all those spin-offs, like the Annabelle movies are
that's
spin-offs of
true.
it, and that
There's another thing, something with like a witch or a nun or something, right?
yeah, I can't remember the name of that one. Oh, The Nun. Yeah, we saw
Yeah,
both of the nuns actually. I actually thought The Nun was pretty scary when
I,
it
I
came
think I
out.
heard that. Yeah, I heard that.
Um, And the second one too, I thought was scary. Not a good movie, but a lot of really good jump scares. They do that thing where like when the nun is introduced, and I think it was like the second Conjuring, or maybe it was the first one. I don't remember. Um, but where her like face appears is like
Yeah.
I don't know. They do stuff like that a lot. It's yeah, jump scares, but
Yeah, I haven't really seen any of the spin-offs. I don't even think I've seen all of the Conjuring movies, but I will always hold that first one in high regard because it kind of came at a time where horror movies felt very formulaic and it felt like a little bit different. Maybe a throwback even to like Poltergeist or something where like the family element of it is
yeah,
like so much more than and I don't know, like the thing that always jumped out to me about that first movie was like that not the Ed and Lorraine Warren family, but the family that it was about and their dynamic. It just
hmm
felt so believable in a way that
yeah,
I was like, this feels fresh and different from
yeah,
things that we've been seeing in the horror realm for a while. So it's cool that it went on to be a franchise and everything, but yeah, I'll always hold that first one in high regard.
yeah. I'm a big fan of the first one too, but everything after that is just like mediocre to bad.
What was that beverage you were sipping on? Is that just like pink lemonade or something?
Oh, this is actually this is actually like pre-workout.
Yeah,
We
that's
don't
what
have
I thought it looked like something like that. I use that stuff like for after like I
yeah,
run.
we don't have any coffee in the house right
Yeah.
now, so
Well,
if I start like shaking a little bit or having a panic attack, it's just because I'm drinking this and not working out.
yeah. I did bring a beverage this week. I brought a Cinderland's local Pittsburgh beer place where
Oh,
I
nice.
had my wedding reception that you came to.
Cool.
And they did an Oktoberfest. And actually, the only reason I have this is because was tailgating with Brian last week, and he left this in my cooler, and I'm like, oh, totally drinking that.
Like, that's mine. I'll
Yeah.
take that.
And it's weird. It's pretty balmy out today, but this morning it was like real dreary and rainy. And I'm like, all right, well, this is as close to like fall weather as I guess I'm gonna get. So,
Yeah. It
um,
started to chill out a little bit here, but it's still like 60s. Um,
I was actually talking to my guy cutting my hair today about this. I was like, I'm just sick of it being in the 60s in October. He's like, you know what? He's like, I say the same thing, but I actually, because he's like roughly our age or whatever, and he's like, I think we've all been saying this though, and it's really like we all just need to accept that everything that we grew up with, weather-wise, it's like a month
different.
later.
Yeah.
Like,
No, that makes sense.
and
Yeah.
it's been that way for like 10 or 15 years now, but we're all just living in the past
Yeah.
still.
I will say though, I don't want to talk about the weather too much on a movie podcast, but the first year that me and Chris moved back here, it snowed on Halloween. We had like a foot of snow here
So it can still
on
happen,
Halloween.
right? See,
Yeah.
Al Gore
So,
doesn't know.
yeah.
Uh,
Speaking of Al Gore, did you
yeah.
pick up any new DVDs?
Yeah, so I did. I have one thing to show off today, and it's one that I was really excited for. It was on my list because I do actually keep a list of movies that I still need to
Mhm.
own. And I saw a post on Dawn of the Discs or whatever that it was going to be coming, but then completely forgot about it until uh, I think it's fair to say this person is a friend of the show, Q the movie collector.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Q.
good,
Love
very,
Q.
very good. Yeah, good dude. He posted that he had gotten this and it was broken, and I was like, "Whoa, that sucks." But he got it from
Oh yeah.
Amazon, and they did send him a replacement one. But I was like, I need to get this too, and it's the Rocky Horror Picture Show with
Nice.
I do have to like drop this slip. This will probably be like the last time I ever see this thing, but
hmm
really cool packaging, and it's a steelbook. Even though you hate steelbooks, I really,
Dude,
yeah,
as time goes on, I'm becoming weaker and like wanting to buy steelbooks now, just because some releases only come out on
I
steelbook
know,
now, and it's
I
like,
know,
come on.
I know. You're totally right, and that's yeah. I mean, Ghostbusters that we're doing later. I have a steelbook of that. It's
hmm
just it. I can't afford to be picky. Like Rocky Horror Picture Show's been sitting on my list forever. I mean, I think this is
Yeah,
cool anyway, but as soon as I saw that it was available in 4K, I'm like, yeah, but buying it. I don't own it, so I don't want to rely on Hulu or whatever to see
yeah,
Rocky Horror Picture Show, especially with ads now at this point. Like all the streaming services are just like
yeah,
loaded with ads, and it's like this is why we stay loyal to physical media.
absolutely.
So I love Rocky Horror Picture Show. Lindsay loves it. We watch it like every Halloween season. I mean, I think at my first wedding reception that was not at Cinderlands, but at Birmingham Bridge Tavern. We had a couple Rocky Horror Picture Show songs in the playlist that night. I'm not like one of the people that goes to the screenings and throws stuff at the screen. Like I've never done
Yeah.
that, but Lindsay and I just love to watch it together. And the more time goes by, the more I'm just like, I cannot believe how great the songs are in it. Like the first 6 or 7 songs, like every single one of them is a banger, I think.
Yeah, I need to rewatch it. It's been a couple years since I've watched that movie.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just so fun, I think. And I'm just really happy to have it in my collection now. Although I was just putting movies away earlier and I'm like, it's gotten out of control. I've gotten out of control.
the show's probably not helping, right?
Yeah, but you know what?
Doing this.
I know you're about to tell a story about how you went to Barnes and Noble for a Kino sale. By chance, I was at a Barnes and Noble earlier this week. I had to go to a dinner and I was early and I just popped into Barnes and Noble and I saw that Kino was having a sale. I picked up like 2 or 3 things and held them in my hand and I said, "You know what? I don't need them."
Well, okay, so I'll talk about my Kinos now then,
Please.
since you brought it up. But I feel like these are justified, at least the first two for me.
I'm sure they're
These are like
justified.
must owns, I think. And I only had them on DVD, and I was like, it's finally time to upgrade these. So I got a couple Adam Sandler movies,
Oh, fun.
Ha-
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore and Billy
The
Madison.
two. I mean, these are the two of our generation, I would say.
Yeah. There was some others that I was looking at, some other comedies. I like that Kino is putting out all the comedies that no other label seems to want to touch, you know. They're like, I don't know
Yeah.
how they're getting all the rights to put all these out, but they seem to be the only label that's putting out big, comedies from our era of growing up.
Yeah, they're just such an interesting label because some of the stuff they put out, I'm like, wow, that's so like forgettable. Like, who cares? But then it's like kind of cool that somebody decided to do it. Like they
Yeah.
do have like really random picks, but then they have like movies that are very well known, and you're kind of like surprised that they got it. It's
Hmm.
they're an interesting label to follow, but I can't even remember what I had in hand. But like there was a couple things that were definitely blind buys, and I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I can't.
Well,
Um,
speaking of blind buy, so my
yeah,
last one that I got, I only got
please.
three, but the blind buy I got was Bad Lieutenant,
Hmm.
um, with Harvey Keitel, and it's a Abel Ferrara movie,
Yeah,
which I've been liking.
I'm pretty
Um,
sure I've got that sitting in the other room too. Except at this point, I can't even remember. That's how bad things have gotten.
yeah.
I need a catalog.
I
I've
know
like
there's apps out there. I just don't have one of them.
I like to think that I have a pretty good memory, and I generally have in my life, but I don't think I've done it with movies yet. But I've definitely done it with records where I've bought records that I already owned, and I always told myself if I got to that point, then I'm going to need to be institutionalized.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't think I've gotten to that point yet. I
yeah,
do. I'm pretty sure I have like over 1,500 Blu-rays though,
I
because
have
I have
no idea.
two big shelves, and that's just
Yeah,
like my guess, because I think they each hold like 700 or 800 or something. But
I don't
they're
think I
they're
have that
full,
many.
and I have stacks up on the ground.
I know I have piles. Like there's that part in Ghostbusters where in the beginning where the books are stacked and he's like, "It's true, no human being would stack books
Yeah,
like this." I have movies like stacked like that
yeah.
in my basement. Uh, so one other thing from me, I'm gonna try to take it easy on Lynn's this episode and not pick on her too much because it was a sad weekend for her with the passing of Diane Keaton. She said to me, she was
Oh
like,
man,
this was my David Lynch. I was like,
yeah.
damn. I was gonna have her. I was gonna see if she wanted to, but she didn't want to. But I was like, it would be great if you called into the show and did your Diane Keaton Godfather 2 impression because she always will do that scene where she's fighting with Michael and she's like, or where she tells him that, she had an abortion. She's like, it was an abortion, Michael. Just like our marriage is an abortion, something evil and unholy. And she's really good at it, but she didn't want to do it. I was like, oh, she's like, because this all must end. This Sicilian thing. If I could have got her to do it, it would have been a big hit for the show.
Yeah.
But
That's a great scene too.
yeah, Diane Keaton was a great though, and weirdly, probably like the weirdest connection crossover with me is she directed an episode of Twin Peaks
Hmm.
in season 2 during the stretch where the show was like really terrible and off the rails. So it's like an episode that I've barely ever watched. But when that was like getting posted, I was like, I feel like I kind of remember seeing that and being like, huh? Because it is weird. But I mean, obviously, she's also in a bunch of movies that I like. I mean, I did Looking for Mr. Goodbar for the show like a few months back or whatever. Um, and then she was in the Woody Allen movies. She just had like a really great career. And then of course, obviously, like Godfather trilogy. I mean, even if you hate 3, whatever. I mean, you get 1 and 2 under your belt. What
Yeah.
a career!
Well, real quick before we wrap this segment up, that is very sad. But
Yeah,
you also mentioned David Lynch and Twin Peaks, so
yeah.
I feel like I have to show this too. You
Please.
already saw this, but
Well,
this
I'm
was on
excited,
sale on Amazon, the entire series of Twin Peaks from
and
Z
that's
to A.
that's seasons 1 and 2 and The Return.
Yeah, it says includes all 3 seasons, Fire Walk with Me, and over 20 hours of special features.
Yeah, I just remembered something. When I was in Barnes and Noble, I was just looking at the criterions because I keep telling myself that I might buy the French Dispatch 4K, even though I didn't really like the French Dispatch that much, but I'm like convincing myself that maybe I do now.
Yeah,
You ever have those moments where you're like working yourself back into something that maybe you were less into originally?
yeah. Me and J Bum went and saw that in the theater, and we're not into it, and I
Yeah, yeah.
haven't watched it since. So I'm kind of there with you, where like I feel like I need to give it a rewatch, but
I think I've watched it twice because I saw it in the theater and I streamed it, and I was like okay on it each time, but leaning towards not really that into it. But I'm sort of working myself back into like, do I need to have the French Dispatch? Anyway, they only had it on Blu-ray. Then I looked like to my right a little bit, and the 4K of Fire Walk with Me, and I'm like, do you know how many times I've bought this movie? Like, not Fire Walk with Me directly, because when Criterion first put it out on Blu-ray, like there was no other copies that I knew of, so I got that. But it comes with different like versions of the season packages that you and I
Mhm.
definitely have it in at least 1 or 2 of those. And then I was like, I really want to get this on 4K, but I think Lindsay will have a coronary if I show up with this. She's like, you really need Fire Walk with Me for the millionth time, and it's like, yeah,
I
I
feel
think
like
I
you're
do.
allowed when you're like a mega fan of someone, like a
Yeah,
director, or even just like a certain movie or a certain series of movies. I feel like you're allowed to like go nuts and get every version of them. And you're one of those people with Lynch.
definitely.
Like I feel like you're allowed.
I'll tell you, it might be kind of wild, especially for a movie that's like a prequel of a TV series, but I think Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me is in my top 10 all-time movies.
Now I know it's so I've never seen it, and I've
Yeah,
never seen all of the show either. We've talked about this a couple times,
I
not on the
know.
show, but
Yeah,
I've watched maybe the first 5 or 6 episodes
not into
of the
it.
show more than once, and I don't know, I just got distracted with something else, or I don't know. It's not that I didn't like it, um, but yeah.
Yeah,
So I've never seen it, but so you're saying it's a prequel, but I've also heard that people say you have to watch the show before you
definitely.
watch. Yeah, okay.
It's a prequel, but the prequel tells you what happened, like what the reveal is of the show.
So you have to watch the first 2 seasons, right,
Well,
before you
the
watch.
big, yeah. I mean, the
Okay.
big uh thing of the whole hook of the show was who killed Laura Palmer,
Hmm.
and the movie is about her being killed. So
Okay.
if you watch that before the show, there's not a lot of mystery to the show.
Okay.
All right.
Maybe we can make some content around this because, like, I had floated the idea when before we even started doing this show of like, oh, it'd be cool to maybe do like a segment or something where we watch through the whole series of Twin Peaks and kind of just give our thoughts on like an episode or two each week or something. I don't know. I thought that
Yeah.
would be cool. It'd be a fun way to go through the show. Um,
Yeah, if we like split it up and just said like, hey, we're like the first season I think is only like, I don't know, 8 episodes or something. Like we could do the first season as a
mhm.
segment, like where you're not talking about like that much stuff directly, and then maybe
Mhm.
the next 10 episodes, and maybe the next 10 episodes or something. Like if we did it like that, and then did the movie, poof.
Yeah.
Now you're getting me excited.
Well, let us know in the comments or hit us up on Instagram or something if you're watching or listening and you think that's a good idea for us to do some sort of like my first time watch of the show for the most part, and Matt just like discussing it. Let
Yeah.
us know.
Yeah, Keith has definitely started Twin Peaks several times, never gets very far, and I feel like every time you tell me that, a little piece of me dies, but it's okay.
Well, this would be a good way to push me to do it, if we forced ourselves to make some content with it.
Yes. Well, listen, fall is the season to do it. I mean, maybe we're gonna miss that season this year, so maybe next year.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, all right. Anything else?
We'll think about it. We'll talk about it. The last thing that I got to show off, I'm pretty excited about this one. Just Spawn
Mm.
came out on 4K.
Yeah, you are a Spawn guy.
Yeah. I never read any of the comics, but I just like the movie. I don't know. It's one of
Yeah,
those.
it was wild to me. I mean, I saw it as a kid, VHS rental and
Mhm,
probably from Blockbuster, not from
mhm.
VideoTech.
Yeah.
And I just remember like one of the weirdest moments in my life was watching that movie a few times, sort of being like weirded out by it because it's something that was sort of marketed as like comic book, maybe like bordering on superhero type thing because I didn't really know the character well, and that's
Mhm.
sort of what I thought it was. It's more like a movie about hell.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, he comes out of hell, or so he's
yeah,
like they're trying to get him to be like a general for the armies of hell or something. My favorite part about this movie, though, is John Leguizamo as the clown guy.
yeah.
He's
So
insane
you didn't
and
let me get
just
to it, but
okay. Sorry,
no, no, no.
I
I
just
was
stole your
gonna say
thunder.
that. No, one of the weirdest moments of my life was watching that movie, and it's my fault. I was too long winded with the preamble, but the worst or weirdest thing in my life was like watching that movie several times, knowing who John Leguizamo was, and not knowing until years later that that's him that plays that clown character.
Well, the makeup's pretty intense. You
Yeah.
you you might not catch it, I guess. Yeah, if you didn't know.
Like it makes sense once you know, but it was like like mind blowing for me
Uh
to
huh.
like that I'm just like cuz I knew who he was. Um he was in like Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, like which I watched a lot as a youth
I, I
and
think
as
I
an
remember
adult.
watching that in your bedroom at some
Yeah.
point.
Yes, I do. I am like a hardcore fan of that movie as well. And it just was like nuts I mean, I basically fell out of my chair when I was like, no, that's not him. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, is it? And it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
super good makeup on him.
I
Yeah.
know it's wild. So I haven't seen Spawn in a long time now. I got to tell you, I don't think I really fully understood it as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think he's like a police officer. He dies, goes to hell, and then he gets sent back or something.
He gets like screwed over too, right? I mean, it's like a betrayal that he gets killed.
Yeah, I don't remember either. It's been a few years since I've watched it, but I'm excited to get into it. I don't know if this really counts as like a spooky season movie, but kinda.
It's got spooky season crossover. It's just another one
Yeah,
of those movies.
yeah.
So, all right,
Okay,
get
that
into
does
the
it for
show.
me for physical media roundup. Do you got anything else you want to talk about or say before we
Nah,
move on?
let's move on.
Okay, Matt, it's time to talk about our blind buys, and you picked up one that I like quite a bit. I didn't rewatch it for this episode, but I watched it, I don't
Yeah,
know, 5 or 6 months ago.
I'm not gonna bury the lead. No long intro from me. I'm holding it straight up to the screen. I've got it in a slip from the one of the Vinegar Syndrome sales, and it is Stuart Gordon's follow up to Reanimator, which we did for the
Mhm.
show, featuring half the cast from Reanimator,
Yep.
uh, From Beyond. And I hadn't seen it. But I knew I wanted it. I think I pre-ordered it shortly after seeing or no, it was part of their sale, so I don't know. But like it came on my radar shortly after me seeing Barbara Crampton in person at Horror Realm Con. And I was like, you know
Hmm.
what? I do need more Barbara Crampton in my life. It was a decision that I made. You know, we we also did Body Double, which was her first appearance on screen. So there was just a lot of Barbara Crampton stuff happening in my life this year, and I was like, I need to get it. And I'm not really, I'll tell you this, I'm not really into like the Lovecraftian like monsters. I don't know what it is. They just don't really do it
Same.
for me. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
not. But I love Reanimator, and in some ways, this started off with me feeling like I actually was liking this more. But as
Mhm.
it went on, I was a little bit less into it. I still like it overall. I'm definitely net positive on it. But like by the end, I was like, no, I think I do like Reanimator more.
Mhm.
Um, there's a little bit of a Hellraiser type vibe going on here too.
Oh yeah.
Like stuff happening in an attic, like some sex crazed doctor or
Yeah.
something that was involved in some sort of it reminded me of Hellraiser, but also reminded me of like Stephen King type stuff, like The Mist, where there's like a connection to another
It's like
universe.
another dimension or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like monsters are coming in from it.
Mhm.
Definitely like the weirdest thing is like this pineal gland or whatever that's in your.
Dude, I hate that thing. It grosses me out. I don't know. There's a lot of nasty stuff in this movie and in a lot of like Stuart Gordon movies and whatnot too. But for some reason, that thing sticking out of his forehead grosses me
Yeah,
out so
yeah.
much.
Same. I was having a little bit of a hard time. Some great deaths in it, like the one doctor, and this will be a spoiler, but the one doctor that Jeffrey Combs ends up killing when he like eats her brain like straight through her eyeball or whatever, like straight through her eye socket. Like, yeah, that's the type of movie we're talking about here. But I mean, if you know the style, like Reanimator, I mean, it feels very much in that universe. But yeah, I was like getting heavy Hellraiser vibes with all of the weird sex stuff that's a part of it too.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, overall, I gave it 3.5 stars. I might trend towards a 4, but for the first viewing, there was times where I was a little bit like, I don't know, this might be a bit too much for me.
Yeah.
I'm not having like quite as much fun as I did with Reanimator, but it was
Yeah.
still definitely a worthwhile experience. So this will not be my last viewing of From Beyond, and it's definitely not it wasn't a regrettable purchase for me. It will show back up in the mix for me someday down the line here.
Yeah. That's a good pick. I like
Yeah,
this movie. I'm due for a rewatch of that too. But like you said, I was kind of more lukewarm on it too. Like I like it, but not nearly as much as Reanimator.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like Reanimator, I'm more 4.5. Like maybe
Yeah.
trending towards 5, even. Whereas
Yeah.
like this was more like in that 3.5 to 4 range. Occasionally, I really want the like like even more incremental scoring on Letterbox than it already is. Like I need to go to that like 0.25 or 0.75. I feel like I'm a 3.75 on
Yeah.
From Beyond.
I can get behind that. Yeah,
You know?
sometimes I wish it was like a 10 point structure, but with halves too, so it'd be the
Yeah.
same. Yeah.
Well, IMDb is that way, isn't it? I think that's out of 10.
I don't know. I've never rated anything on IMDb.
Same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should we move on to mine?
Yes, we should.
All right. So, I watched The Vanishing. This is from 1988
I
and
brought my copy up too.
this is a French movie, correct? Or Dutch? French
Uh,
and
it's
Dutch?
it says in French and Dutch with English subtitles, so
Yeah.
I don't know how you
Um
pick.
Funny though, I'm pretty sure I saw the remake of this.
Jeff Bridges is in it. He's in the
Yeah, I'm
remake.
pretty sure I saw the remake of this like on TV back in the day. It was like one of those movies that would just pop up on like TNT randomly or something, like a
Yeah.
cable channel thing. But I was looking into it actually to try to remind myself or try to see if I could remember if I'd actually seen it or not. And kind of just like Funny Games, apparently directed by the same guy, George Sluzier. Like
Oh yeah,
he,
yeah.
so he put this out, and then a couple years later did an English remake.
Oh, sorry, I'm wrong. It looks like it's actually Kiefer Sutherland. Oh no, they're both in it. Kiefer
They're
Sutherland
both
and
in
Jeff
it, yeah.
Bridges are okay. Um,
Um,
I don't think I
but
watched. I haven't logged the remake one on Letterbox. It's actually a 2.9. So obviously, I mean this one I'm pretty sure is beloved. Let me see what that is on Letterbox.
yeah,
I mean I guess I've always thought it was at least held in high regard. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I
No,
did
it's
not update my internet, Keith, because my letterbox ain't loading very quickly.
that's okay. I'll vamp.
Yeah,
So,
please.
um, yeah, this one I had heard about this for a few years. Like a lot of Criterion Collector people on YouTube have talked about this movie a lot, like at nauseum. People
Yeah,
love
yeah.
this movie. So I had heard about this for a long time, and I bought it and just hadn't watched it yet. And you said you had seen it, so I was like, okay, I'll finally watch it now. And man, what a like sad, hopeless kind of like I don't want to say I guess kind of depressing. It's just like a very frustrating movie, but also very interesting, and it just like sucks you in and you can't I don't know, you don't want to stop watching it. uh
Uh,
I, I'm like always very intrigued by movies where you get to see the perspective of like the villain, and that's a big part of this movie.
and it's rough.
Yeah,
Like,
it's really hard. The dude is just at one point he refers to himself as a sociopath, and you're like, this movie doesn't have like the spooky season vibes. I think I wrote that on my letterbox
yeah,
review.
yeah.
It doesn't really feel like the kind of movie that needs to be watched around Halloween. There's no fall spooky vibes to it, but it is psychologically terrifying, I would say.
I don't know. Letterbox is not loading for me anymore, but I'm pretty sure the original one is pretty highly regarded.
Mhm.
I I think it's one of the most haunting movies I've ever seen.
Yeah. And
I-
especially well, I'm not going to spoil it cuz I feel like some people might not have seen it, but like the ending is just a massive gut punch too.
Even like
uh
the whole ending, the whole like final act of the
20
movie.
minutes or so.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the fact that it's like this guy, not the killer, the
Mhm.
guy who's the whole story is molded around because basically, I mean, I think we could spoil this. It's his. I don't know if it's his wife or his girlfriend, but
He
she's the
says
one who.
they're married.
Okay, yeah, they're married. So she is the one who vanishes. So it's about this
Mhm.
guy whose wife had disappeared. He was there when she disappeared, or at least in a
Mhm.
nearby vicinity, and it has haunted him. And I won't give away where it all goes, but like his whole journey in that final act is just
It's
absolutely insane. You're like, I cannot believe that this guy is doing this, that this
yeah.
is where this movie goes.
But the thing about it is you can kind of understand why he makes the decisions he makes because I feel like part of what makes this movie so scary is like psychologically you would want to know so bad what happened,
Yeah,
and that's what happens to him. He wants to know so bad what happened to his wife that it basically it destroys him
yeah.
without spoiling too much. Like it eats away at him so much that he'd make some stupid decisions.
And with the villain, how normal the villain just acts about everything. Now he has like
Yeah,
moments of panic, but he still just acts like everything he does is like so normal and natural to him.
yeah,
It, like I said, I mean, I can't beat it to death enough. This is maybe the most haunting and chilling movie I've ever seen.
yeah. I had heard other Criterion people saying that in these videos I was talking about,
Yeah.
other YouTubers and whatnot, and I was kind of like, I'm pretty sure I've seen the remake, and I didn't think that highly of it, I guess. But I mean, that's the remake. I honestly don't remember if the remake ends the same as the original, but after watching it, total gave it 5 stars. I was like blown away, like, oh my god.
Well, the lines have been blurred on this stuff over time, but for you and me in our generation of like watching movies, there was definitely movies, and you talked about this with Revanche. Like there were movies that felt like distinctly European. I would say The
Mhm.
Vanishing is one of those movies. Like
Oh yeah,
you would not have made this for American audience. Now I do think that that has become more blurred over time because it's everything is more of a global experience, and even though
yeah,
American filmmakers have been influenced by European ones like for years, like at a minimum we know about like the French New Wave and the impact that that had. American filmmakers were always like, even ones that have pushed the envelope, a lot of them it's like, well, if you want to make money, we gotta
there's
we
got to be
gotta
explosions. It's got to be fast paced. There can't be this slow brooding thing, that
Yeah,
happens a lot more in foreign films for sure.
right. But
Um,
we've definitely seen the lines blur more and more over time, and especially now that everything is more of like a global experience.
mhm.
But this is one of those movies that you're like, I if I was running a studio back in the in American studio back in
Yeah.
those times, I'd be like, there's no effing way we're trying to make this for America.
Yeah. Well, nowadays, yeah, we have studios or production companies like Neon and A24 that do try to put out more slow-paced, like introspective movies like this.
Yeah,
Not quite exactly the same, but they're at least trying.
totally. And like I said, it's become more blurred over time. But I kind of feel like back in like the '90s and stuff, like it, you just weren't having this type of
Yeah.
pace and perspective in American cinema.
Yeah, no, for sure. And definitely not having endings like that.
Yeah, so I'm glad you watched it, just because it is like it's just one of those movies that you should have watched. It's not
Yeah.
something that you necessarily need to watch again. Like it's one of those ones where like if I sat down and be like, "Oh, Lindsay, you haven't seen this, like we should watch it just so you have seen it."
Hmm.
But like I don't want to watch it by myself
Yeah.
again because I have,
Yeah.
but I don't want to watch it by myself again.
Yeah. It's kind of a bummer of a movie for sure,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. But it is great. I mean,
yeah.
I do really respect it for its overall execution is really strong.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, that's The Vanishing. High recommend from us here at Return to Videotech.
It's where we push nothing but positive messages.
Okay, should we move on?
Yep.
All right, Matt, it's time to talk about the spotlight for this episode. We're doing a big one, Ghostbusters. Take it away.
If I were to list out my movie watching resume of my life in chronological order, it wouldn't take long to reach Ghostbusters. Positioned somewhere after The Land Before Time and Ewoks The Battle for Endor, it kicked off my long running career of quoting movies, oftentimes incorrectly. A memory that my dad still references is a young me waltzing around pretending to be my beloved Dr. Peter Venkman and announcing, "All right, this chicken is toast." I would say that all the time as a kid. My dad still brings it up today. Um, Ghostbusters is one of those rare movies that adult me loves as much as young me. Most of the time, I find my nostalgic self revisiting things from my past and feeling a bit cringe about the whole thing on rewatch. Not in this case. In fact, it further locks in my affinity for Bill Murray, who went on to be a big time Wes Anderson and Sofia Coppola collaborator and all around legendary performer. Starting from a Dan Aykroyd idea, the story would evolve over time, with Harold Ramis bringing a more comedic pacing to the dialogue, and eventually adding Murray to play the Venkman role that was originally intended for John Belushi. Ivan Reitman, who had previously worked with Ramis and Murray, was brought on as director. Alien legend Sigourney Weaver was added as Dana Barrett, the paranormal victim and love interest of Dr. Venkman. Ernie Hudson, Annie Potts, and Rick Moranis would round out the cast and ensured that all of the characters were oozing with personality and spark. Set heavily in New York City with some on location filming, Ghostbusters is one of those quintessential 80s Manhattan movies. Even though additional photography happened in Burbank, California, this is very much a New York experience. The film also includes all of the trademarks of a blockbuster with lasting impacts. There's both an original song and a logo that have transcended their humble beginnings. Not to mention the merchandising. If you were a kid of a certain generation, you undoubtedly walked around with a proton pack strapped to your back, taking on imagined ghostly adversaries in your basement. And I know it's all a money grab, but I find myself longing for this level of successful merchandising for a film. A successful song, sequels, a cartoon, video games, lunchboxes. This original story launched them all. From the opening Columbia Pictures logo to the final credit sequence after the giant monster Marshmallow Man, Mr. Stay Puft's remains are covering our heroes, I find Ghostbusters to be an incredibly joyful experience through and through. And so, Keith, this is Return to Videotech, and let's show these prehistoric dinguses how we do things downtown. See? Dingus is in the mix. So, you were just telling me before we hit record on this segment that you were not one of those kids with this movie that was walking around with a proton pack taking on imaginary ghosts in your basement. Not, I mean, I definitely was.
Yeah, no, I don't really have a good explanation for it either. I think that it's just a movie that I wasn't really heavily exposed to as a young kid. I mean, I definitely saw it like on TV and stuff, but it was one that I don't think we had on VHS or anything, although I have the VHS now.
Love it.
Um, but yeah, I've grown to really like this movie though. And I think part of the reason why I wasn't like a massive fan of it as a kid is just like I said, not seeing it a whole bunch and also not totally understanding the Peter Venkman uh, brand of comedy, I guess, as
It,
a youngling.
I mean,
But
it may have been
I
like the most influential thing on my comedy today. I have a
I
very
mean,
dry
I, I
humor.
was I
Go ahead.
was telling you though via text before earlier today, or maybe it was yesterday, I don't remember. But I was telling you when I rewatched it for the first time in quite a few years, actually, I was belly laughing at a lot of his
I know
jokes. Like,
it's so good. Yeah, like for real. This is a movie that I watched a ton as a kid, and I got the Steelbook. That's Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Another thing that
mhm,
I've bought, like I've definitely had this combo. I don't think I had it on DVD. I had a VHS. I think I might have skipped
mhm.
DVD altogether. No, you know what? I did have a 2-pack DVD that had Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Then I had a Blu-ray that had Ghostbusters 1 and 2, and now I have this Steelbook 4K that has Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Um,
Yeah, that's what I just have the basic Blu-ray double pack. Are
yeah,
those 4Ks that you have in that
yeah,
steelbook?
yeah.
Oh, nice.
These are 4Ks. Yeah, I mean, this is
I
just
will
one
say
of those.
too, you mentioned it being like a quintessential New York 80s movie.
Yeah,
I feel like this movie, maybe I just never recognized this before or didn't click with me, but I thought this movie was like beautiful. There's like some awesome exterior New York City shots. Like there's a shot where the Ecto one is driving over the bridge with the city in the
I,
background, and I was like, that's beautiful. Like I actually kind of want to upgrade
I
this
made
to
a note of
4K
that
now.
too. I'm not sure which bridge they're going over. I don't know if it's like the George Washington Bridge or, the Williamsburg Bridge or what. I don't know. I mean, it's you can see the Twin Towers. It's one
Uh-huh.
of the coolest shots of the movie, and it's one of the coolest like
Oh,
parts of the movie. I made a note about that part when we
yeah.
get to it
Sorry
because
to
no, no,
skip
no,
ahead to it.
no. I mean, there's not much more to say about it, but I love that part as well, and it always like the way the music hits, the way that Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson are like doing the delivery of their dialogue in that sequence, and then like
Hmm.
the camera comes out, shows the kind of like wide shot of the car going across the bridge into Manhattan. It's so cool.
It
I
looks awesome. Yeah.
I also think about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first one, as one of these types of
Yeah.
movies, which also was shot heavily not in New York, but it has a bunch of like the establishing shots right in the
Hmm.
beginning, and it's enough for me.
Yeah.
Like, like
Yeah.
like they do the subway stuff. They have the establishing shots in the beginning. I think there's probably like some other stuff that was filmed in New York, but most of it was not filmed in New York. But it's still I still think that's like such a New York movie, and it was definitely big. I feel like in the '80s to have New York City be like a centerpiece, and it just looks so
Yeah.
cool during that time period.
I was thinking that too when I was rewatching it this time. I was like, we don't really get too many New York movies anymore. I mean, you just saw what The Materialist, that's kind of like a New York
Yeah.
movie, but
Well,
I was really racking my brain to try to think of modern New York movies and I couldn't think of any.
I mean, obviously, New York is the greatest, if not one of the greatest cities in America, if not the world. But I do feel like it's starting to lack the character that it had during this
Yeah,
era.
it's
Obviously
getting
there's like
cleaned up
definitely
a little bit. It
pockets
doesn't
of
have
it.
the griminess to it anymore, I guess.
Yeah, and look, I mean, you'd say like that's a good thing overall, but in terms of production value, like
Yeah.
give me the griminess.
I want the Jason Takes Manhattan version of Manhattan.
Yeah, same. So the movie starts off, and like I said, I just as a kid I have such fond memories of just the Columbia Pictures like logo starting things off, and then it's a little bit of a cold open. on the library, and you get the original, or I guess where things start off is the librarian woman is just walking in the basement level of the library, and you see like the books like floating behind her, which I think is pretty cool.
Hmm.
Like the practical effects are fun in this movie. There's definitely non-practical effects, like special effects that maybe don't look like the greatest in the world, but I still feel like they hold up in a fun way.
They're charming for sure. I was thinking that too. There's a lot of green screen stuff,
Yeah,
um, and the big like dog monster Zool things.
yeah,
It, it's you can tell when it switches from like puppet or man in costume to green screen stuff when they're busting through
and
doors and
and
whatnot.
a part of it don't they? Because parts of it they look like animatronics. Sometimes it
Hmm.
looks like a dude in a suit. Sometimes it looks
Yeah.
like claymation.
Yeah, it's a blend of a bunch of different methods that they used back in the day,
Yeah,
and they don't really use any of them anymore,
I
but
know.
it's very charming. Yeah, I love that look for
But
sure.
like, even though some of the stuff with like the streams from their proton packs and everything like has a certain goofy look, but I feel like when
Mhm.
you see like Slimer and stuff, I'm like that looks like cool.
Yeah, Slimer looks awesome. A lot
Yeah,
of the ghosts that are like semi-transparent that you can kind of see through them,
yeah,
those look awesome. Those to me look like they probably shot those practically with like puppets and stuff, and then just superimpose them on top and like cut them out, and it does have just a really cool, unique look to it.
yeah. Agree. So the librarian has an experience with some sort of paranormal entity in the library basement, but we cut to meeting Dr. Vankman, played by Bill Murray, just a legend, and shocking, he's a dog. Like, just he's a scientist, but he's doing these sort of I don't know, like the effect on electromagnetic pulse, like negative reinforcement on psychic ability. And I love like Dan Aykroyd kind of wrote the original script for this, and he's into, all sorts of weird spiritual stuff, like aliens, paranormal. Like he's into all that stuff, and I think it was like a really crazy broad story at first, and Ramis helped like hone it more into a comedy. And
Hmm.
I mean, I think it was always meant to be like a supernatural comedy, but Ramis actually showed up and was like, "Here's how you write jokes in a movie." Like, and plus, like when they got Murray, he had worked with Bill Murray a few times, and I think he felt like he could write to Murray's personality.
Yeah, did they work together on like Stripes and Meatballs or something too? Or
Stripes,
yeah,
yeah, and Ivan Reitman directed Stripes too, so he
I think
also
so.
like
Yeah.
meeting back up with them. Um, but yeah, this scene is hilarious where he's just like keeps shocking the dude, and then the like pretty girl, he keeps telling her that she's right about everything that she's trying to guess.
Yeah.
Um,
Another thing that you don't see too much in movies anymore is horny protagonists like that.
I know he is just like a horny
Maybe for
loser.
the better, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess there's crossover. I mean, he's not this, but this was the era of like the yuppies in peril stuff was going on, where like
Yeah.
80s kind of not even wealthy dudes, like guys that had like steady, decent jobs that were just like bored with their lives were getting like hung up with some kind
Yeah.
of crazy woman on like an adventure. Like there was a lot of those movies happening, and he's not that, but it does feel like it is of that same era.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And then we have Ray Stantz, played by Dan Aykroyd, showing up while Venkman's doing this and saying that they got to head to the library because there's been a ghost sighting. And I should probably know this. I don't really understand exactly what they're all like doctors of. Like they work for the university. Obviously, they studied like paranormal stuff. I mean, he's doing a psychic like test right now. They eventually get scolded for their work not really resulting in anything. It's like, well, shocker, like none of it is like proven science. So
Yeah. I kind of just read it as Venkman is just there kind of milking it. He doesn't want to go out into the there's a joke later on about working in the private sector.
Definitely. Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
just seems like Venkman's like, I'm comfortable here. I'm gonna keep hitting on college students and doing these tests that don't really turn
That
out to be anything.
that's the thing. Like he has to be smart for like getting as far as he has, but he's definitely lazy.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
Ray and Venkman meet Egon Spangler, played by Harold Ramis, at the library. They meet with the librarian lady, and she says she has had this encounter in the basement, so they're heading down there. That's where the no human being would stack books like this thing happens. Um, they do see a floating entity with uh, no legs. I think is pointed out by the librarian woman. But this
Mhm.
whole thing culminates with them being like, "Okay, this is our first experience. Like, what do we do?" And it just concludes with Ray screaming, "Get her!"
Get her.
And I think that kicks into the song, which has now, like I said in the intro, has transcended the movie. Like
Yeah.
Lindsay and I bought this just we'll buy like random what I call like mood records, like atmosphere records, like things that I'll just put on to play during certain times of the year. And one of them is just this compilation Halloween music album, and one
Mhm.
of the songs is the Ghostbusters song by Ray. I think it's Ray Parker Jr. is the name of the guy. So
Yeah.
it's like, but that's how big it is. You know what I mean? It's just showing up on
No,
random.
I know exactly what you're saying. This is off topic, but
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago for my birthday, we went to a haunted house,
Yep.
like, I don't know, like 40 minutes away. And on the drive back, we were all in the spooky mood. So I was playing Halloween music, and this was like the first one that I played, I think.
Yeah, I think it's like right up there with like the Monster Mash and all those. Like
Uh-huh.
it's just so it's a song that's now like transcended this movie, which was like a really big movie.
It's the
And
perfect Halloween party movie. Like, if
and
you're looking for a song to put on at a Halloween party, this one will get people to turn up.
and you get the Ghostbusters logo, which
Yeah.
I feel like in terms of original artwork, like I love branding stuff that like fictitious branding stuff that just gets made for a movie, like Jurassic Park. Like
Hmm.
same thing, like great logo, but I feel like the Ghostbusters logo is up there amongst like the all-time best fictitious branding for a movie.
Yeah, I mean, in high school, how many kids had that T-shirt? You know?
I know. How much merch do I have with it on? Actually, I bought Lindsay a Ghostbusters t-shirt that just says "Back off, man, I'm a scientist." So we kick into gear. We've got the song, we've got the logo. We're part of this big kind of what would be a franchise experience. Although you would probably say Ghostbusters as a franchise, which I didn't plan on getting like too much into, but as a movie franchise, it's kind of disappointing. I like the second one a lot too. I don't think it's as good as the first one. However, when I was a kid, I liked the second one more. So how about that?
Yeah.
But I think this one, I still watch this first one today, and I think it's as an adult a 5-star movie. As a kid, it was certainly as a kid it was like a billion-star movie for me. It was as high rated as can be, but I still think that this first movie is great. The second one I don't think is quite as good as I thought it was when I was a kid, but I still like it a lot. In terms of what they've gone on to do with it for the rest of the movie franchise after the second one, it hasn't been great, but there was a time where a third one with the original people was kind of in play. I do think that Aykroyd and Ramis, when Ramis was still alive, did write a script for a third one. I think they sent it to Bill Murray. I think on like Howard Stern or something, he said that there was a script that had been sent to him, but he hadn't read it. But it never really happened. Unfortunately, like Ramis and Murray's relationship got like heavily fractured following the Groundhog Day movie. So for something that could have been, I really feel like could have been a franchise that kept on giving movie wise, unfortunately kind of petered out. And I think there was a Ghostbusters video game that came out in like, I don't know, somewhere around like 2007, 2008, like that time period. And I think they used a lot of the ideas from that third script for that video game. And then of course there was a, a couple of reboots here in the past 10 years, but I just uh, the the first one that Jason Reitman directed, I did not think was a great movie, but it definitely like tugged at my heartstrings at parts. And I just won't say anything more than that because they were definitely like playing to the Harold Ramis of it all and him passing away. So that definitely got me a bit, but overall, I would say not great after the second movie.
Yeah, I haven't even watched. I watched maybe the first 20 minutes of Afterlife when it came out, and then
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do this. I wasn't into it. So
Yeah, I didn't love it. I think I rated it a little bit higher than I would have otherwise, but it's because of they do stuff like towards the end that was like definitely like a tribute to Harold Ramis and stuff, and that was kind of
mhm,
nice. But I haven't watched Frozen Empire or whatever it is.
yeah, I didn't tell you this too, but I did rewatch uh, the second one
Okay.
yesterday, and I thought it was okay. But like you said, I think the first one's a little stronger.
Yeah.
Something something about the river of purple goop I like.
Yeah, I like that
Like
too. I mean, the ooze, the whole ooze under the city, and it like feeds off of the negative energy of New York is fun.
yeah,
And
and
as a
it is like it's an uplifting movie at the end too, where they use positivity, and when
yeah,
they're driving around the Statue of Liberty and using a Nintendo Power Stick thing, a
yes, and as a
Nintendo,
kid, dude, I was the biggest sucker for that.
yeah.
Like,
There's some cool stuff in it, but yeah, first
I
one's
mean,
better.
I'm about it like as big of a mark as you can have for the Statue of Liberty all of a sudden becoming animated and mobile, and
Yeah.
you're steering it with a Nintendo joystick.
Yeah.
Like,
That
it's
does lead to one of the funniest lines in both movies, though. I can't remember it exactly, but Venkman says something like, "It makes you wonder if she's naked under all that. She's French, you know, right?"
yeah, that is good. But overall, Venkman does not have as many great lines as he does in the first movie.
No, yeah, and him and Dana's dynamic is different and not as fun because it's like they're exes in the second one, like they had a relationship, but it skips all that and you don't see it, and it's not
Yeah,
as fun as them getting to know or
for
as
sure.
Venkman trying to like court her, you know?
It's a weird choice that they have her. It kind of makes it interesting for the movie, but it's a weird choice that they have her have a kid and it's not with him.
Yeah, it's like how much time has passed because they had a relationship that ended, then she got married and had a baby, and then that relationship didn't last very long either because she's divorced
And the baby's
from,
very young still.
and the baby is like a baby.
Yeah. I mean, you do get it because Pete Venkman doesn't seem fit for fatherhood.
Yeah.
So in that part, it makes sense, but it's interesting for the movie for sure. So
But I also thought it was interesting too that I think the guy who she was married to, who was supposed to be the baby's father, was supposed to be the guy from this movie that's the violin player or
oh,
something,
is
right?
it?
I think so because they don't say specifically, but she makes a comment like, "Oh, he got some job in an orchestra overseas and he left." And
Yeah, it could be
that's
that
as
guy.
much as
Although, I guess it could be anybody that she played music with.
that's true. Okay,
But
we can
no,
move
I
on.
mean, if they're trying to tie it in, that makes sense. I never really paid that much attention to it, but that would make sense.
Yeah.
So these three get unceremoniously shit canned from the university. Like Dean Yeager shows up and is just like, "You guys aren't producing anything. We're moving you off campus, aka you're fired." Um, and that's when, yeah, Ray has the great line. I've worked in the private sector. They expect results. And they decide to go into business for themselves, which is a bold move, seeing as like it doesn't really seem clear like what they're even gonna do. But
hmm
they've now seen one ghost, so their life's work is proven to be that this stuff exists, and apparently Ray and Egon, because definitely not Vankman, have been building equipment that they can use to capture and detain ghosts. So
hmm
they convince Ray to take out a second mortgage on his parents' house or something.
There's a there's a funny line that Egon has too about he's like with this interest rate, it's going to be $95,000 in the first year or something.
The interest rate is like 19% or something.
Yeah.
So they're going into business, and listen, there's like a whole social network element of this where it's like, all right, these guys are starting a business. It's fun. And like one of the first places we see is what's going to be the new headquarters of the Ghostbusters, the Fire Hall, which is like an oft-visited, oft-photographed place in New York City still, because it's got such a distinct look. I think they were maybe building it at the time, and they filmed the interiors of the Fire Hall in a different building. I don't know if it was in Burbank or New York, but I think it was because I think they wanted to film in this other one, but it was getting close to being completed, so they didn't have time to where they could still use it. But you see it as like this decrepit fire hall, and then you see them have like kind of a shitty like Ghostbusters sign on it at some point, and then you see it with like their logo on it. So you see like the evolution of their headquarters, and it just is really cool. As a kid, I was definitely like eating up the whole bit about them having a fire pole. Yeah,
Yeah. I've always wanted, yeah, it's one of those things as a kid, you always just want a fire pole in your house or something to do, jump down on.
definitely. So then we meet Dana Barrett, played by Sigourney Weaver, walking around her lush Manhattan apartment, passes Louis Tolley, played by Rick Moranis in the hall, who just a crazy crush on her and not super smooth about the whole thing. I mean, Rick Moranis was great. I mean, he definitely like just disappeared at a certain point. I think you were like retired from acting. But
Yeah, I want to say, I heard that he retired to like help raise his family or something, I
yeah,
think.
yeah. But he was just like a
Um,
staple during the 80s.
yeah.
Uh,
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids,
yeah.
classic.
Also,
I did hear, I think he's coming back for Spaceballs too, though.
oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Spaceballs, yeah. Dark Helmet. So she sees a crappy Ghostbusters commercial that seems like an infomercial. That this low budget production that ends with them in unison saying, "We're ready to believe you."
Their commercials are great, but they do give me flashbacks to working a job like that where
Oh
I made
yeah,
shitty commercials like that.
you like produce
I'm
these
like,
types of
I
affairs.
used to make shitty commercials like that for a living.
That's amazing. But I see, like, the best thing about you though is like you can do that stuff and like enjoy the absurdity of it. I think.
Yeah.
Don't right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I
wouldn't
mean, I had fun doing it, but
yeah.
we were always like, we would get back and in the edit, we'd be like, this is the most ridiculous, stupid, horrible thing ever, and still have fun doing it. So,
Do a little like fun editing that would never make it to air.
for sure.
Yeah. So she goes to her kitchen, which I was like, man, this is like kind of a good size apartment for New York City, to be honest. But eggs start cooking on her counter. You're like, well, that's weird. We do get a quick peek at a Stay Puft marshmallow bag, a little
Yep, I
foreshadow.
noticed that.
That was something that I feel like in my. Did you watch the VHS?
No, I just took those pictures. I
Okay.
watched it on the Blu-ray.
Well, I'm not trying to expose you, but the real reason I asked is because I'm
I
like,
exposed myself.
I feel like I watched this a bunch on VHS in on those old like tube TVs.
Hmm.
I don't think that I was ever making it out what was on that bag
I don't think you'd be able to. No, yeah.
in
On the
HD though.
Blu-ray, you could
Yeah,
tell, but yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yes, high definition is a hell of a thing. And then we just have this dog monster in her fridge that says Zool. And
Hmm.
I got to tell you, Keith, of all the million times I've watched this movie, I don't know that I've ever got that the dog says Zool. It says
Yeah,
something. It definitely makes a noise. I just without subtitles,
yeah.
I just don't think that I'm getting it that the dog says Zool. But she does.
Uh-huh.
Credit to Dana. She
Yeah.
does understand that the dog is saying Zool. So then we have Ray show up with the car, and this is just everything about this movie. I just love everything that they pick, like this fire hall to work out of, this crappy car that Ray shows up with that looks like a hearse, but
Yeah.
they add, but it's not, right? It didn't it have some sort of other
Yeah,
use?
I don't
Does it have sirens
honestly, I
on it
don't
already?
remember if they. I don't think they say specifically that it's a hearse. It
Yeah,
just looks like one of those really long, old, like '70s shaggin' wagons.
yeah. And they deck it out, and it becomes, what is it? The Ecto One.
Ecto One, I believe. Yeah.
We also meet Annie Potts, who plays Janine. Has like one of the, for some reason, another thing that I've just quoted a lot in my life, even though there's no practical use for this exchange in my life. Like, there's no way that I can apply this conversation in any way that works. But when Venkman is talking to Janine, he's just like, "Hey, Janine, stop staring at me. You got that bug eye thing going on." Janine, sorry about the bug eye comment. I'll be in my office. It's like so quick. So Dana shows up at the office after her, running with the dog that said Zool. Venkman is like, "I'm gonna go over to Miss Barrett's apartment and check her out. I'm gonna go over to Miss Barrett's apartment and check it out." Another thing that is just, as my life goes on and I do these little life bits, things that are just for me and no one else, which is basically my whole life. The amount of times that I've walked into a room and there's like some sort of piano or a keyboard, and I just, with the back of my fingers, tap two keys back and forth over and over and then say, "They hate this." I love that part. They hate this because obviously he's just trying to show off for Miss Barrett. "That's right, boys. It's Dr. Venkman." This guy has
Well, we
had
skipped.
one interaction with a ghost ever.
I gotta bring up one thing that you skipped
Please.
over just real quick.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
when she first shows up, I don't know why. It was just hilarious to me how Venkman jumps over the. There's like there's like a little. I don't even know what it is. It's like a half wall that's. There's like a walkthrough thing there, and he just jumps over it because
Yeah.
he's like so excited to see that there's this customer here.
Well, the Ghostbuster characters, but Venkman in particular, it sort of hits on what would become big time in like the mid 2000s, where like nerd characters became the hero characters.
Hmm.
I feel like Venkman was like an early iteration of that because he is like a big time nerd scientist dude, but he is like
But
trying
he's
to be
cool
this. Yeah, there's this
and he's
like
funny.
rock star. I mean, she points it out later. She's like, "You're more like a game show host."
Yeah. I mean, I think she's meaning that to be a dig at him
Definitely,
for sure.
yeah,
But yeah, he has charm to him.
I know. Um, they hate this when they're touring. I did just write down lines in this movie because it's like Jaws, where I can just do
There's
lines
some
from
good ones.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
But like when they're at her apartment and she's like, "That's the bedroom, but nothing ever happened in there." And he goes,
He's like,
"What a
that's a crime.
crime!"
Yeah.
Just a ton of good interactions in Dana's apartment, and
Yeah. One of my favorite things too is right after this when he goes in, they go into the kitchen and the fried eggs are on the table and he just picks one up and like plays with it.
I also, one of his great reactions is like, because she's getting like more mad, right? Because she had this crazy experience where something supernatural happened, and he is like really just trying to hook up with her.
Yeah, he's just goofing out. He's not taking it seriously. He is just trying to get in her pants.
Yeah. So she's getting like more and more frustrated as it's building up, and she's like, "All right, do you want to see the fridge?" And then once again, he makes it into a joke. "Look at all the junk food. You actually eat this stuff?" And she's like, "No, there was a ghost dog, a demonic dog in there, and it said Zool." And
I actually wrote down one quote from this scene too, because this made me belly laugh. It's right before he opens the fridge and he's still using the little
Yeah.
poker thing. I don't
Uh-huh.
know. And Dana's like, "Are you sure you're using that thing right?" And he says, "Well, I think so."
It's like even better than that though, because it's the genuine response, like the authenticity of him actually being like maybe in doubt that he even knows how to use it.
Yeah.
It's so real because it's
That's
like
the
he's like, I don't think. Well, I think so.
yeah.
Yeah, I know it is great. That whole sequence is really strong.
hmm
So back at the fire hall, Janine gets a call, and we got one, Keith. It's our first big customer, the Sedgwick Hotel. Because even though Dana is like the first real customer, there's nothing really
They don't
going
find
here with
anything.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Sedgwick Hotel calls. We see the outfits and the proton packs. There's a lot of jokes about, they look like exterminators, and that is like what they were going for with the movie. Like the idea, I mean, part of Dan Aykroyd's idea was like, yeah, these guys are just like exterminators. Like if you have rodent problems, like you call these people. If you have ghosts, you call these people. And I,
Yeah.
I do think that's perfect. Like it does
Yeah.
work so perfectly.
And
And
that's what they're going for with those shitty commercials too. It's like they're
oh
going
yeah,
for like an exterminator feel. Yeah.
such a great idea. Um, they have some funny conversation in the elevator about how they've got these like nuclear accelerators strapped to their backs and they've never been tested,
Yeah.
which is hilarious. But they split up. This is where we meet Slimer. One of my favorite just throwaway things that would also be something that I would go on to jokingly do later in life, where Ray is first walking around and sees Slimer and the cigarette just hangs off his lip.
that that stuck out to me rewatching it this time. A lot of cigarette smoking in this movie.
It was just a different
Everybody's always
time.
smoking.
It was just a different time. I mean, there's parts where
Yeah.
Ray is casually drinking cans of Budweiser too.
Yeah.
It was like Papa Fandre's life was inspired by this movie. Just cigarettes and Budweisers. Um, yeah, I know. It was just. Oh, there was a lot more smoking in movies back then. Even in the '90s, there was still a lot of smoking in movies.
Well, I didn't look into it, but I'm guessing that it was like product placement
Sure.
because there's product placement that I noticed rewatching it this time.
Always a
There's like
yeah,
a
the
scene where
Crunch
they're
Bar.
eating, yeah, and the Cheez-Its, and
Yeah,
there's like a bag of Ways like potato chips or something behind them at some point.
always a
Like,
way to boost that budget. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
just another like stupid thing. There's so many like dumb little throwaway things that make you feel like the Venkman character is just real because you're like, this just seems like a dude. It doesn't seem like a character that would be written for a movie. Like because it
uh-huh.
just you just wouldn't think of doing this stuff. Like him just pulling out the Crunch Bar and handing it to like Egon or whatever, and he's like, you've earned this. So, unfortunately for Dr. Venkman, who's not really that into this stuff, he gets slimed by Slimer.
Yep,
Slimer, as we hit on earlier, does look pretty sweet.
yeah,
I'm
yeah. He's awesome.
actually surprised going back and watching this every time, and I'm like, wow, that looks cool.
Yeah, especially when he comes back later, you only see him for like a split second when all the ghosts come back later. But I love how he comes out of the hot dog cart and has all those hot dogs in his mouth.
But like another thing watching this movie, like this hotel just seems out of another time. Like there's still places
hmm
like this in America, but they're like fewer and fewer, and it's just like everything else, like how like the consolidation of these types of things just become like crappy. Like there used to
Yeah,
just be a bunch of random like one-off hotels, and now like everything is like a Marriott or a Hilton, and they're all like the
yeah.
same.
Everything's cookie cutter. Like the
Yeah,
ballroom where they fight Slimer is like cool looking. It almost reminds me of like a room that you would see in The Shining or
yeah,
something.
for sure.
Yeah,
I also get like major Shining vibes when they head to that ballroom.
Mhm.
But even when Venkman gets slimed, it's pretty cool. Like there's shots of them like kind of running through the corridors of the hotel,
Mhm.
and when Ray stumbles upon him and Venkman's like, "I've been slimed," and Ray's like, "That's great." And then even like Ray's on the walkie-talkie with Egon. He's like, "I'm with Venkman. He's been slimed," and Egon goes, "That's great, Ray. Save some for me." Like everybody's stoked about it. And that's when they head to the ballroom and they have this great showdown with Slimer. And
Mhm.
we see Egon firing off his weapon, kind of out of control. Venkman's trying to calm him down. Hey, nice shooting, Tex. This is where we have the intro of "Don't cross the
Oh,
streams."
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. That was like a joke that I don't know, everybody had as teenagers.
It's
Like,
probably the line from this movie that's lived on more than anything.
hmm
You could still, people to this day definitely make like "Don't cross the streams" like jokes, right?
yeah,
Like that's just,
specifically like if you're at a urinal in a bar.
sure, that is one place, but I mean I've heard it in all sorts of settings, to be honest. I mean, like you just hear like people, this is the line I feel like that's lived on from
Yeah,
this movie.
which is weird, but I don't know.
Yeah, so this is where we first see the effects that we talked about earlier of like the streams or whatever that shoot out from their little proton pack handheld gun things. And I don't really know how to describe them because they're kind of cartoony, kind of goofy, but also still fun. It's definitely like unique to this movie. I can't really think of an effect. I mean, I'm sure it's something similar has appeared in other movies, but I couldn't really tell you like off the
Yeah.
top of my head, like I've seen another movie and been like, oh yeah, that looks really similar to the streams that come out of the little gun things from uh, Ghostbusters.
It makes me think of just like anytime there was a lightning effect in an 80s movie or something where
Yeah,
they look like they were hand drawn animations that they plopped on top of
right. Yeah,
like hand painted, you know.
yeah. That was a far more eloquent explanation than I was getting to. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
They do eventually trap Slimer again. They throw the little trap across the floor. And when you talk about the merchandising, that was a big
Oh,
piece of collectible too. Like I always had the proton pack. I don't remember if I had the little trap that you slid across. But if I didn't, I'll tell you this, I definitely wanted one.
yeah, that's the thing that I remember one of my neighbors had and I wanted it. I thought it was so
Yeah,
cool.
for sure. I mean, just an excellent job of merchandising by this franchise.
Yeah.
And that was actually, like Stranger Things was a show that I loved the first season, and then I kind of like the second season. I kind of just like fell off over time.
hmm
But I always will remember in the trailer for the second season where the four young kids dressed up as Ghostbusters for Halloween.
Yeah.
And I mean
Yeah, I
that
thought that
just
was cool.
evoked such a memory that really hit with me. Like I never did that, but I would have loved to do that.
Well, we can do it now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Would you be Vankman or Stance
I
or
guess I'm kind
Egon?
of a mix between Venkman and Stance.
Yeah.
You're definitely like an Egon. No, I'm
Okay.
kidding.
I'll take that.
No,
I'll
I don't
be
know. I
Egon.
guess you and me. I guess if I was Venkman, you would definitely be Stance.
Yeah. I would
But
be I think that's what we should go with if we ever do decide to
yeah,
dress up as these guys.
yeah. I mean, I do think Bill Murray's humor from this movie like definitely shaped the rest of my life, and not like intentionally. I just watched this and I'm like, oh, maybe this is where I came from.
That's what comedy is right there.
Yeah. Even though like none of his lines made sense to me as a kid.
hmm
Like I didn't get dry humor at all, but
Well,
like
that's what I was trying to explain earlier. Is when I
yeah.
was a kid, I wasn't getting those jokes. Like I definitely have a much more appreciation for the comedy, at least Vankman's comedy in this. Like
Yeah.
now,
I mean, he says, "All right, this chick is toast," and I'm walking around here saying, "All right, this chicken is toast." I mean, like I wasn't getting it, but I just loved everything about the movie. I loved watching it. I watched it all the time. But then yeah, like years later, I rewatch it and I'm like, "Oh, I like this for a completely different reason now.
Hmm.
Like it's funny. I still have the
Yeah.
nostalgic thing about what I liked about it as a kid, but it really, to me, all the humor as an adult like really works.
Yeah. I think as a kid, I liked the cartoon probably more than the movie.
I did watch the cartoon too.
Yeah. But yeah.
They come after they catch Slimer, they come busting out of that ballroom, and Venkman just announcing, "We came, we saw, we kicked its ass." And the guy that is whatever, like they're supposed to have some event there. Now, this event has to be canceled, right? I mean, they destroyed the ballroom.
Yeah, ball. Oh yeah, and another thing we skipped over too, though. I love how he whips the tablecloth off, and he's
Yeah.
like, the flowers are still standing.
So that reminds me of you. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that is a total Keith moment. Like, I've
Mhm.
always wanted to do this, and rips it.
Do something stupid like that.
Yeah, and be so proud that the flower
Yeah.
pot is. Yes. So you and me are just like a mesh of Stance
Yeah,
and Bankman.
for sure.
Um, yeah. So they're gonna charge this guy $5,000, which he acts like is a lot of money.
Hmm.
I'm sure it was in the 80s. I'm not saying it's not now, but like I don't know. Someone removing a ghost, how do you put a price on that?
Yeah, I think Vankman's just making it up on the spot.
For sure.
He's
For
like,
sure.
we're running a sale on uh what does he say? I don't know the word he uses, but he's like keeping the beast.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm not gonna pay it. He's like, okay, well, we'll just put it back in there for you.
No. Anything.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, the Ghostbusters are officially in business, and we kick into a really fun Scorsese-esque montage of just ghost happenings across New York City. The Ghostbusters are rising to fame because they're effectively catching and detaining these ghosts. And we have Casey Kasem in the mix, who's
Mhm.
top 40, just voice so smooth. Is Larry King in it too?
I was gonna say there's like a shot from behind and to the side where it's kind of panning around a guy on a microphone, and I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be Larry King.
Yeah. It's a fun montage. I think we have the Ghostbusters theme also playing during this. It kind of goes on and on. We do have that random, like, Ray sexual poltergeist dream sequence.
Yeah, where he's like getting a BJ from a ghost and his eyes go crossed. Is this a dream or is this actually happening?
It's a dream. I think that's from they filmed that scene. It originally was like a scene that they cut from the movie. And then
Okay.
they decided it was like not a dream. Like it was something that was going to happen in the movie. I think he was supposed to have like a love interest too, although I'm not sure how that all works, seeing as this was like a ghost. But um, I think he was supposed to have a love interest, but that all got cut. And then they're
Yeah.
like, well, let's keep this what we filmed as a dream sequence. One of the wildest things though is he's dreaming and he falls out of bed, and you realize that these three dudes are all living in the same room.
Like they're actually firefighters.
Yeah. And it's like, are they on duty or do they live here full time?
Yeah, and that was another random question that I thought to myself throughout the movie. I'm like, I get that Venkman's single, but you would think that Stanton and Egon would be, I don't know, they look like they're in, late 30s, early 40s. You would think that they'd be married or I don't know.
No, I think what the movie's telling us, Keith, is that they're all loser nerds.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, definitely. I mean, Egon. There's definitely a romance in the air with Janine. Well, she's putting the press on him a little bit, but he's.
Mhm.
I think he's into it, but he's just he needs to be convinced. He needs to be pulled in. He needs to be led to the water.
Yeah.
Uh, so after our montage, we get an intro to Winston Zeddemore, who's played by Ernie Hudson. I think the role was meant for Eddie Murphy originally, although according to Wikipedia, Ivan Reitman denies that. But I know that this whole thing came from an idea that started with Dan Aykroyd, who of course was in the first season of SNL. He wanted his buddy Belushi, who was also in the first season of SNL, to play Venkman originally, and I'm pretty sure he wanted Eddie Murphy in the movie, so it seems that this would be the role. But we don't really know because the script evolved over time, and I don't know. It's hard to say. But Ernie Hudson is really strong in it, and he has some funny lines too. A lot of his stuff comes later, but he just is applying for a job. At one point, he reveals that he's getting paid $11,500 a year. I
Seems
mean,
low.
yeah, that is unlivable. Now I know wages have changed a lot over time, but this also is New York City. You're like, holy shit. I mean, you just can't imagine. It does seem like these guys should be making money off of what they're doing.
I mean, that montage makes it seem like business is booming.
And that they're like famous.
Yeah, and they're so tired that when Winston shows up, Stance is just like, "You're hired. Come help me now."
Yeah. Which is pretty great. But it is like you are wondering what the financial situation is. Like, it seems like they should have a decent amount of money at this point because of what the montage implies. Now, we don't know how bad the debt is for the business.
20%.
Yeah, that interest rate was pretty rough. So Venkman goes to seek out Dana after her rehearsal or whatever. Tells her some stuff that he found out about Zool and Gozer, but we know he's mostly just going to hang out with her. He's really, I don't know. It's not that he doesn't believe her, but he's just not that invested in anything but trying to hang out with her. She's starting to succumb to his charm. That is starting to happen. She agrees to go on a date with him.
Yeah.
Although she's still kind of treating it all under like, well, I have this ghost problem and that's why you're in my life. And, sure. Okay, fine. We'll go on a date, but it's not going anywhere. That's sort of her mindset.
Yeah.
Back at Ghostbuster headquarters, EPA man Walter Peck shows up. And Venkman does nothing but mess with him. Just a real dick in these scenes. Which you love because I forgot to write down the actor's name that plays Walter Peck, but it's recognizable. You recognize
William Atherton.
Yes, William Atherton. And which feels very fitting for this guy. I don't know what it is, but if you look at him and you hear William Atherton, you're like, yes, that is what William Atherton would look like. Okay. I'm not going to explain myself any further than that. So Venkman does nothing but mess with him and send him away. And then he heads down to the basement where their storage chamber is. And we just had like a whole explanation about the amount of psychokinetic energy. One of the things that's like not really talked about that much, but is hit on like a little bit, like, is this idea, and it's even a lot of this is kind of revisited in the second one, but it's just like this ghost paranormal activity. This energy is all up like really high, and it like somehow for some reason coincides with them doing this ghost busting. You know what I mean? Like it's almost as if like there was less paranormal activity until they started catching ghosts, and now it's like way up.
Yeah, and now all this stuff is happening. I don't know if you're supposed to think that because of the Zool stuff, that might be kind of making more of it happen.
I think so. I do think that that's what the movie's saying. It's just like now these guys say a lot. There's a lot written into the story that's just like exchanged in the dialogue sequences. Like you do get a lot of the backstory of Zool and Gozer, like the between those guys, in just those guys' conversations.
Yeah, because when the first time Venkman goes to Dana's apartment, I think Stance and Egon go and do a bunch of research, and then they're just talking about it later on a bunch. Yeah,
right. So, in order to display how much psychokinetic energy is going on, they're using the example of a Twinkie. So when Venkman comes downstairs to the basement, that there's just that exchange of to get him up to speed where it's like, tell him about the Twinkie. What about the Twinkie? Meanwhile, back at Dana and Lewis's apartment building, Dana's coming home after a busy day. She's getting ready for her date with Dr. Venkman and strips down to her athleisure gear and then is attacked by Zool in her apartment, or what we think is Zool, one of the monster dogs. Lewis, just a bumping party going on across the hall with like nothing but accountants hanging out there or something. And some kind of blonde bimbo girl. Like,
They're his clients, I think.
okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
see. Yeah, yeah.
So it's a bunch of people that don't know each other. It's funny when some guests show up and he introduces them and
Yeah.
then tells them all about their finances and stuff.
I know Rick Moranis is like hilarious in this movie. All the side characters are pretty strong in this.
Uh-huh.
That's one of the things that it was definitely like heavy in the 70s and into the 80s where I just feel like you could round out the cast with like these just characters.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly heavily on display here. Yeah, at one point he's like, does anyone want to play Parcheesi?
He's talking about the brie being room temperature.
Yeah. But then he's also attacked by an evil monster dog, which chases him around. I think this is probably like the least good looking effect in the movie when the dog is like chasing him into what I believe is Central Park. I think it's probably Central Park, right?
I think so, yeah.
And that's probably like the least good looking thing, but it is really great when he like approaches that restaurant that's like, it's just like completely see-through glass and everyone stops and looks at him. And then he's like attacked by that dog and seemingly killed from the perspective of the people in the restaurant. And then they all just go back to eating. And so we don't really know what happens to him at this point, but obviously there's more to come. Venkman does go to Dana's apartment and, he finds what he wasn't expecting, which is a possessed Dana wearing this sheer dress thing. It's like, did she have this in her closet? What's the deal?
She's like, are you the keymaster? The first time he's like, what? And then she does it again. He's like, yes.
His ability to just play along and play it cool with this is pretty sweet. Yeah, I love his just go with the flow of this all though too. Like,
yeah,
the fact that he just goes along with this and isn't completely weirded out. Now I know these guys have seen ghosts, but it's like possession is a whole other level.
Yeah, he is kind of cracking jokes the whole time too.
Yeah, I do love how he just goes along with this. So she is Zool, the gatekeeper, and she's looking for the keymaster.
The keymaster, yeah.
And all of this is preparing for the coming of Gozer the Destructor. This certainly ruins Pete's date night. I don't know what he had in mind, but it ain't happening. In fact, at one point he says that he like shoots her up with 30 cc's of Thorazine or whatever. And I'm like, I mean, I know he's a doctor, but it's like that he has Thorazine on him. Like, what?
And then when he leaves, I can't remember exactly what he says, but when he leaves, he says something funny and like pats her on the head or something too. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know. I thought that part was ridiculous.
I know it is. The
all gonna leave this possessed woman here by herself.
I know it is like creepy. She's like breathing really heavy and stuff. It's definitely weird. And Lewis is now also possessed as the keymaster, and he's kind of just wandering around New York City. Has a hilarious interaction with a horse and the like whatever like buggy driver of the horse, whatever. It's like a horse and carriage situation, and I don't know what the name for the person is who drives the carriage, but like Lewis is screaming at that guy basically. And he's arrested, I guess. You don't really see that. And then they take him to the Ghostbusters headquarters and they're like, hey, whatever. Nobody wants this guy. He's saying all sorts of weird shit. We know you guys are into this stuff, so we figured you'd be interested. So Egon does take him in. He immediately knows something is amiss and not right with this guy and starts examining him. Um, and then we have that scene that you and me talked about, the one of Ray and Winston driving, talking about Judgment
Mhm.
Day and also the architectural designs of Dana's apartment building. Like, but yeah, that they have like a nice long dialogue. There's kind of like this like music bumping. The shot comes out. It shows like the full bridge, Manhattan in the background. They're going over it. They're going over the bridge and into Manhattan. Like the music like revs up even more, like leaving the scene. It's definitely like one of the coolest mood moments of the whole movie.
Mhm. For sure. Yeah, it looks awesome.
All right, so then we have there's a little bit more stuff with the with the Lewis and Dana back at our apartment, but like Walter Peck shows back up at headquarters with the police. This is like a very Spielberg shot. I don't know if you remember this. Like it's like exterior of the fire hall, and like the camera is like positioned like towards the ground, like straight on, and you just see like the cop cars come into the frame, and you see like Walter Peck's like body standing there. It's so
Mhm.
like I was like watching it this time, and I'm like, this is like such a Spielberg shot.
Yeah, it looks like I feel like there were similar shots in like Jurassic Park and the Goonies. Yeah.
Yeah, Jaws even. I mean,
Yeah.
E.T. Like there's like one of these types of shots. I feel like in all of his movies, or at least like
Mhm.
of a certain era.
Yeah.
So Walter Peck shows up and he's talking all sorts of shit. He's got a warrant. He's got a cop. He's got a, I don't know, some sort of structural engineer or something, civil engineer. I don't know. J Bomb was there to
Yeah.
shut it down.
With his blue hard hat.
Yeah. And they go down to the basement, and despite not anyone being too sure about what's going to happen, I mean, Peck tells him to shut that storage system down, and they do, and an explosion happens.
Hmm. I gotta say real quick too though, I love how Venkman acts when he comes back because now that the police officer is there, he's like when Walter Peck was there the first time, he's just like a dick to him. But now that the police officer's there, he's like I can't remember exactly what he says, but he says something like, "I'm here to help. I will do everything that I need to be compliant."
Just such a prick.
Yeah.
And so all of the ghosts are now freed, and they're all starting to wreak havoc on Manhattan again, and that's where we get it's another montage basically. That's where you see Slimer eating hot dogs.
Yeah.
Just a
This
pretty cool.
montage is cool. I like the cab driver
Yeah,
too. That's like a
kind of
cool
looks very
practical effect.
like Tales from the Crypty,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
which I'm into. Um, so while this is all happening, it's chaos. The Ghostbusters are arrested, of course, like because the chaos is ensuing, and I guess it's their fault. It's hard to say. They obviously did not want the storage system shut down, but they do
Hmm.
kind of hit on several times in the movie that they're doing stuff without permits. Like,
Yeah.
so it does seem like they were playing with fire here, and eventually something would happen, especially with how not under the radar they are about this stuff.
Hmm.
So it all makes sense that this blows up in their faces and they're arrested. But that means, Keith, that the Keymaster and the Gatekeeper are free to rendezvous with each other.
I love how Lois opens the door and he just says, "I am the key master."
Yeah.
Like,
So
have you ever flung the door open and tried to seduce your lady by saying, "I am the key master"?
I gotta tell you, I don't think it would work.
No.
Um, I also love his look with his glasses and his hair is like super disheveled, like and his
Yeah.
clothes are like a mess.
Just
Like,
a complete mess. Yeah.
yeah, it's great. Uh, I have a question for you. So they do show these two making out. I mean, are we to take it? I kind of think yeah that these two
Get it
consummate their
on.
relationship.
I feel like that's what moves the thing forward. Whatever,
I
bringing.
know. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously not to be too on the nose with the names, but the the keymaster and the gatekeeper. I mean, it just seems like that's what happens. And I guess it's kind of a joke because he is this like goofy guy who has like this big crush on her and it would never happen. And like under these weird, bizarre
Yeah.
circumstances, it does happen. And now it's like, I don't think either of them would ever like, I don't know. I don't know what you're supposed to think at the end. Are these two like of present mind to some degree, even though they're possessed?
Yeah, I don't know. I do
Who can
think it's
say?
hilarious though how Dana like dips. So,
Yeah, that is funny.
like
That is
she dips
hilarious.
him
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, that is great. So the Ghostbusters are in jail meanwhile this is happening, and I I don't know like what it is that put all the pieces together. Why do they have the architectural designs of her building while they're in a prison cell?
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But
Everybody's
like I said before, they did do a bunch of research on the
yeah.
building.
Ray
So
and Egon have kind of been doing a lot of work on this for a while now, and they're like really getting into the crux of what the history is and how there's a lot of weirdness around this building, and there were like Gozer worshippers like somehow involved. Like,
yeah, they say there was some sort of cult back in the day,
yeah,
right?
and also you want to know what I love about this scene while they're in jail? There's two things that I really love about it. One is how the further these guys keep going on and on about this stuff, Winston going further and further into being like, I need to separate myself from you guys. He's like, I think I'm going to get my own lawyer. So that's like the one thing. But then also, if you're like watching this sequence and paying attention, like the other people, their cellmates are getting like so invested in this story.
I know. I noticed that too. It's so funny. The guy with like the golf cap on is smoking a cigarette or something,
Yeah,
and he like takes a seat down next to him and is looking at all the maps and stuff too.
I know that part's so good. So basically, they're like giving us all the details about like the building and why it leads to these possessions and the history and what is aiming to happen with like bringing Gozer back from whatever, I don't know, from that dimension that From Beyond was referencing or something. I don't know where Gozer's coming from, but the Ghostbusters get called before the mayor because it's just wild out there. All these ghosts are running amok and messing with people's lives. And now we have a collection of people, Walter Peck back in the mix. And yeah, you hit the line earlier, but it is just great. Ray is just trying to defend the Ghostbusters by being like, everything was fine until Dickless over there came in and shut the power grid off. Like, basically caused all this. And Walter Peck's defense is like, these men have been running some yada, yada, yada. And then the mayor looks back at Venkman and is like, oh, well, it ends with Peck being like, and they caused this explosion. And mayor looks over at Venkman. Is that true? Yes, it's
It
true.
is true.
This
The
man
man has no dick.
I know. It's so, I mean, like, just the delivery is just dynamite.
Yeah.
It's just so good. Like, I mean, a line that would maybe just be okay is that much better with his deadpan delivery.
Yeah. I mean, Bill Murray is just the king of that
Yeah.
style of dry, deadpan humor.
They get the mayor all revved up. They basically get the mayor on their side by freaking him out and also saying like, "Hey, if we're right, you would have saved the lives of all these registered voters, like,
Yeah.
and taxpayers." And that gets him excited, of course. But also, you get the sense in that whole scene that he's ready to go with these guys because he's just kind of got a situation that none of his advisors know what to do with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also another great Venkman moment when Walter Peck gets thrown out. He says, take him away. And Venkman's like, I'm going to miss him. Remind me to send him a fruit basket. I'm going to miss him. So the Ghostbusters are back in prominence here, and they're going to go raid Dana's apartment. And there's a big collection of New York City citizens that are going to stand around and watch. Look, when they get there and Gozer or whoever it is, however this happens, does the thing where it like breaks the uh, asphalt and they like fall in. For whatever
Hmm.
reason, I thought that that was like so cool when I was a kid. In the shot where the leather glove like reaches out and they're like climbing out of there, I'm like, wow, that's so cool. I can't really
Yeah.
explain it to you now, Keith, but it was a bit. It really worked for me as a kid. I'll tell you that.
Well, I will say nowadays they probably wouldn't do something like that practically, and they did it practically. You can tell that it's some sort of animatronics making, the
Yeah,
cop car actually falls down in the hole a little bit, and you
I
see
know.
the crumbling pieces and whatnot. It looks really cool, and it is epic when they come out of the hole. So
Absolutely. Okay, thank you. You know what? I feel justified. Thank you, my
yeah.
friend. And so they're gonna go uh, try to fight whatever's at the top of this building. They're walking up 22 flights, just sort of a funny throwaway moment. The elevator's out or whatever because the building's like half destroyed, and they're talking about having to throw up like halfway up, and they get to the top, and Dana and Lewis are turned into dogs,
Yeah.
and Gozer arrives. Sort of a interesting choice for the look, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it kind of like David Bowie-ish.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I mean, like with this kind of crazy flat top hair that they make a joke about at one point where they're like aim for the flat top.
Yeah. Yeah, an interesting look.
But all of this stuff with Gozer is like everything from here on out. I just think is like great line after great line, like great interaction after great interaction. Like all of this
Mhm.
stuff packed into the last whatever 15 minutes of this movie, 15 20 minutes is so good. I love it all.
Mhm.
Ray is the first person to approach as a duly elected citizen of the city, state, and county of New York. It's like whatever all he says is like asking Gozer to leave. This like long build up Gozer. Are you a god? Ray looking back at the other Ghostbusters before, you know, not very confidently turning back to Gozer and saying, no, then die. And then like, basically Gozer does like the force lightning to them, right?
Yeah, they almost get knocked off the building. They're like
And
dangling off.
just amazing line in the movie. I think it's Winston that says, Ray, when someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes.
Yes.
I just love all this stuff. And then we get the line that I misquoted as a kid a million times. The correct quote being, all right, this chick is toast. And they all go load up their proton pack guns and all fire on Gozer, who just disappears. You're like,
Mhm.
well, that was easy. It's a fake out kill, Keith. It's
Mhm.
Milla
Uh-huh.
time.
Uh-huh.
And Gozer is just gone, but now a voice from the clouds. That same cloud, or that same voice that says, choose and perish. They're like, what? What are you talking about, huh? And if you watch some great Dan Aykroyd face acting right here when they're all like trying to figure out what's going on, Venkman gets it like right away and is like, oh, I get it. It wants
He's
us
like,
like the
empty your
next.
mind. Don't think about anything.
Yeah, the next thing you think of is gonna be the destructor. Like it wants us to choose the form of the destructor and just empty your minds, empty your minds. And if you watch Ray, you can see the panic on his face that he's already
He's
thought
like,
of
oh,
something.
yeah.
And the Bankman going around the circle like, no, what are you talking about? Because Gozer's like, the choice has been made, and he was like, what are you talking about? We didn't choose anything. Our minds are blank. Winston, did you choose anything? No, nothing. Egon, my mind's empty. And then it's just like everyone just stop, quiet. Ray, what is it, Ray? Just like, I tried to think of the most harmless. I couldn't help it. It just popped in there. What just popped in there, Ray? I tried to think of the most harmless thing I could. Summers sitting around the campfire, and it's just like, what did you think of, Ray? And it's just like the pause, and it's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. So good. And I love it. I mean, like, what a look of this guy. This monster. It's sort of like a Godzilla thing because it's a giant monster
Uh-huh.
walking through the streets of New York City. But it's goofy because it's like this cartoonish giant
Yeah.
marshmallow man with this
I,
goofy hat.
I love his like the look on his face. Like at one point, he's like scowling, like his eyebrows are pointed down, and he's like angry looking.
I know.
And it's
I can
also
like
just hilarious how easily they defeat it. They're just like, all right, we're just gonna blast it with our proton packs, and then it just catches fire and then blows up
well,
everywhere, basically,
no,
right?
first no, it when they try to shoot it from the roof, it like absorbs the streams or whatever, and then shoots like fire back at them.
That's true. But doesn't it just start melting right afterwards, though? Or am I
No, that's
misremembering?
after they. That's once they figure out what they're gonna do.
Oh,
So
okay.
first they try to shoot it, and they're like, that part's not successful. It just like throws fire back at them, and it's just like stepping on cars, and like things are about to get bad. But then they come up with the one thing that they have in their back pocket, which is Keith
Crossing crossing the streams. Yeah.
cross the streams. And so they cross the streams back into the portal that like Gozer came out of. It somehow that solves everything. I can't explain it. That solves everything. It blows up the Mr. Stay Puft. Dana and Lewis aren't dogs anymore, although that's not quite revealed yet. But it just reverses everything. And yeah, Marshmallow just blows up everywhere. Everybody gets covered. Uh,
Hmm.
and now we have some aftermath where they're waking up covered in marshmallow on top of this New York City apartment building, and Ray just saying that something smells like burnt dog hair or something. He's like,
I
"Oh
did
man,
think it was
I'm
really
sorry."
funny how Ray and Egon and Winston all seem like they're like covered,
Yeah,
absolutely like covered, and Vankman just has like a little bit on his hair.
yeah, I know. Which maybe he like took most of the good hiding spot,
Yeah.
but basically they bust Lewis and Dana, I think both of them, out of like these dog shell things. I don't really know how to explain what happened here,
Yeah.
but
They like turned to stone Medusa style or something and just
yeah.
yeah.
And I think the end credits kind of hit. They do this whole thing where they're showing stuff over the end credits. I think there's a kiss between Dana and Venkman.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Kind of unmemorable, It's
Hmm.
you sort of don't need it. I guess for the love interest of the story, it's whatever. It ties it up with a bow, but you're sort of like, and I guess Ghostbusters 2 sort of reaffirms this. You're never really feeling like Dana is full. Like, I think she likes Peter and finds him sweet, but um, you know what? It's kind of like the girl from One Battle After Another and Lockjaw. When you could see Dana leaving Peter that same note.
Hmm.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't actually. What? No.
I don't want to give it away because it's just like a great moment in One Battle After Another. But she the girl that's going to be with Lockjaw, but then ultimately decides that it's not for
Oh,
her.
yeah. I know. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
You don't
that
make this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I won't say it. Yeah,
I could see Dana leaving. Yeah, I just
yeah,
don't want to give it away because it's like, if you don't know it, it's just like it's such a great moment in
yeah,
One Battle After Another. But I could see
yeah.
Dana leaving a similar note to Peter. But yeah, we have of course, the Ghostbusters theme hitting once again, and yeah, I mean, Bill Murray as this character. I mean, it's one of the great comedic performances, I think, and he goes. Like Bill Murray was going to have a great career no matter what, but I sort of feel like it's this role that really like transitioned him into like the Wes Anderson stuff really well.
Hmm.
I mean, he was dry in a lot of his movies, but I just feel like it's this Pete Venkman performance that like really set the stage for what he would do in the Wes Anderson movies. I know he's done some other stuff where he's a little more serious, like Lost in Translation, and he's really good in that too. But I don't know. I do think that this is the ultimate Bill Murray role and performance of his whole
Yeah.
career, and I love a ton of it. So, but this is still number one for me.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I mean, I'm a big Steve Zissou Life
Yeah,
Aquatic guy, but
yeah.
that's kind of like a darker take, but similar
He's still very
comedy.
dry in that
Yeah.
too. But yeah, so good. So love Ghostbusters, 5 stars from me. And anything? Is there anything from the movie? I did pick stuff to just skip over in the, you know, being conscious of the time on the show. But is there anything that was from the movie that you felt like you wanted to talk about that we didn't hit on?
No, I got to mention Slimer eating hot dogs, so
Yeah,
I'm happy.
I just love everything about it. I love the look. I love the idea, the story. It's just, and it ends up becoming like this big franchise, and like most of these, like nothing is ever as good as that first iteration. But
Hmm.
I also just missed that time. I talked about it in the intro. I know that I know that this still happens today, and I know like obviously like the Avengers and stuff were huge, but I loved like how a movie in the 80s and into the 90s, it was like a movie could be made and just become all of these other things. Like there's a video game for it. You know what I mean? Like, and I
Yeah.
just feel like it's not quite that way now. I know there's versions of it. I don't know how to explain it.
Well, I feel like part of the reason why we don't get that so much anymore is because there's just so much stuff out there,
Yeah.
and everybody is segmented in their own specific areas of entertainment. Like, if you're a gamer, you're just a gamer now, really. Like, you're not really going to the movies that much. And even if you're like a big movie person, you're probably a one specific kind of movie person, so nothing really permeates the culture and becomes like a big zeitgeist thing. And yeah, like back in the day, like not as many movies came out, so there was they had better chances of becoming some massive thing that everybody was talking about. Water cooler moments where everybody, you know, went to see Jurassic Park and everybody was talking about it for a couple years after that, like there's the biggest movie,
All right.
I've,
Well said. That
yeah,
was very eloquently put. And that's exactly what I was trying to get at. So thank you for, you know what, Keith? I feel seen. Thank you.
yeah, I
All
see
right.
you.
That's Ghostbusters.
All right, Matt, it's time to talk about our homework. And I asked you to watch Bones and All. What did you think of Bones and All?
Well, I'm really glad that you assigned this to me because it was sort of just like floating around on my, to-do list for the last several years now. It came out in 22, and I'll tell you this, if I had seen it in 22, it definitely would have been on my top 10 list and like pushing into the top 5. Like I gave it a 4.5 right out of the gate. I really was digging it. I'm pretty high on Luca Guadagnino. I don't
Guadagnino, I think.
Guadagnino, yeah. I'm really high on him as a director. You want to know what I'm not high on? My ability to pronounce his name appropriately.
Yeah, you
I,
struggle with that.
I know it just I don't know this to, like there's G's in places where I don't need him to be. But no, I really like this. Of course, Timothy Chalamet is in it. I love his movie Call Me by Your Name, and this was right up there too. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that it's about cannibals, so sort of interesting topic there. But the whole thing seems like a metaphor for. I don't even know if it's just one thing. You know what it reminded me of? What another homework you assigned me, Abel Ferrara's The Addiction.
Yeah,
It's kind of similar to that. It's like either people with drug problems, which that movie seems more about drugs, but like I think that that's kind of in the mix here, but also um
just
homosexuality.
outsiders in
Yeah,
general, I thought. Yeah,
anything. It could be
yeah.
anything. Like yeah,
Hmm.
homosexuality, it could be even there's parts of it that it feels like a young woman like coming into the world and being
Hmm.
alone. Like I feel like there's parts of like it's just anybody who has something that's like not the masses. And you're
Yeah,
finding people. that maybe have your thing too, and like trying to connect with them, but then also realizing that just because they maybe have that same thing as you doesn't mean that they're good, you know?
Yeah, no, for
Um,
sure. Yeah, the older character, I don't know that character's name, but the creepy old dude
yeah,
that
yeah,
collects the ponytails or that collects people's hair. That dude
yeah,
is creepy. But yeah,
so
he like kind of represents that what you're saying. Like, uh, you can meet other people that are interested in the same things as you, or maybe have the same issues that you do, but that doesn't automatically mean that you have to connect with them.
yeah. One of the like haunting parts of the movie, but also like sort of rang true was when they meet those two dudes. One's played by Michael Stolberg, and the other
Hmm.
one is played by the director David Gordon Green. But they're like super creepy, but they act like they want to be friends, and you're still never really sure what was gonna happen with those two. But it just didn't feel like they
Yeah,
were good news.
that part was super tense. I was thinking that they were gonna be um just like eaters that eat other eaters, kind
Yeah,
of.
it could
Um,
be. You never find out, but it's well executed in terms of making you feel what the two main characters of the movie feel, which is just like
mhm,
this something ain't right
yeah,
here.
and it's twisted. It's like one of the guys is just a regular person. Like he's not actually an eater, but he does it just because. He's
Yeah.
like it's like in Blade how the vampires have uh like just humans who want to be vampires kind of
Yeah.
thing. Forget they're
Yeah. That was the character that was who David Gordon Green was playing.
yeah, yeah.
Which he I mean, I'll give him credit. He was very effective at playing just like a weird, unsettling dude.
Yeah, those
And
guys
then
were creepy for sure.
yeah, yeah. And then also the scene with Chloe Sevigny or whatever, Sevigny, very powerful scene as well, but also like disturbing as hell.
Yeah, yeah. This movie is another one that's not like doesn't totally have spooky season feelings to it, spooky season vibes, but there's enough going on that's like just the cannibalistic stuff in general, I guess, is enough to make it fit, you know,
Yeah.
as an October watch, I would say.
There's a part in the movie where they explain bones and all, and it's with those creepy dudes actually. They of course explain it. And I mean it's basically the idea that you're eating which I just don't like I don't know how that can be, but like
Yeah.
eating a person bones and all, and it's like Marin, who's the main character, she has like a reaction of sort of horror and confusion to that.
Yeah, she's also like, I don't understand how that's even possible. You can just eat somebody's femur.
Which makes sense, but it was also reminding me of sometimes I'll eat an apple like down to just like the core, and I
I
eat it
gotta
like
say, I read your review and saw that you said that you eat apples whole, seeds and all, and I was like, "What the fuck? Are you serious? You do that?"
yeah, I do that, and like I will say, I was doing it when my nieces were over one time, and the look on their faces of horror and confusion were very similar to what Marin's is when she hears about bones and all.
I thought you were joking. I didn't think that was real. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. I will occasionally eat an apple to yeah, so yeah, I don't know. It's a weird quirk that I have, I guess.
all
So
right. I won't
I don't
kink
know.
shame you, but
Yeah, thank you.
that's weird.
Then immediately kink shames. Oh, there's no kink to it. It comes natural to me.
I know. It's fine. You can eat the
But yeah,
seeds.
I'm glad that you did put this on my list for me. And like I said, I missed it the year it came out, but if I did like a revisionist best of 2022 list, this would be on it.
Yeah, it's to me still just kind of surprising that it hasn't had some sort of resurgence yet, you know? Because Luca Guadagnino is like a pretty big name director.
Kind of. I mean, I think that too, but I think he's still all of his movies are kind of weird. So
Yeah,
it's like a mixed
fair.
bag. I think he can make successful movies, but I don't know if mainstream audiences are clamoring for his work.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair
I
enough.
am.
Yeah. I still need to check out some of his movies. Like I haven't seen Challengers and the one you
Yeah,
said,
I
the
did like
Call Me by Your
Challengers.
Name. I haven't seen that
Yeah,
either.
Call Me by Your Name is probably my favorite movie of his. I also like his Suspiria remake. It's
Mhm.
wild, but I liked it. Okay, so that's Bones and All. Do you want to quickly do what I assigned to you, which was uh, oh, I will hold up my copy of it because I'm sure you do not have a copy of
I don't,
Grindhouse
but I
Racing
love that cover. That artwork is awesome.
Death Game. Yeah,
Yeah.
with the actor that we talked about a while ago, who was in Rushmore as well, like Bill Murray,
Oh yeah, what's his name?
Seymour Castle.
He's Max's dad,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. And
Um,
I didn't know the one girl that's in this, Sandra Locke, but the other one is Colleen Camp, who is just an absolute film legend. She was in Apocalypse Now as a in a brief role, but she was also the um, I don't know the what is it in Clue? I'm like about to say like waitress or butler, and it's neither of those things. Like
Maid.
maid, yes. What a rough run for me trying to find words for this episode today. But yes, she's the maid in Clue. Uh, she's one of the two girls, and this is also the movie that inspired Knock Knock, which I did just order a 4K of, which has shipped but has not shown up yet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that Knock Knock was a remake until you suggested I watch this for this episode, and I was surprised. And then I posted a picture of the title screen or something on my Instagram,
Oh yeah.
and my buddy Brian, Last Movie Standing, he messaged me and he was like, "Knock knock, motherfucker," or something. I was like, "Oh, so you knew this was like the original too? That's cool." But anyways, yeah, I thought this was an awesome movie. Just
Oh
like
good.
the girls super unpredictable. You don't really know what's going to happen. They're just absolutely insane. And the way the way that they seduce Seymour Castle's character just like is hilarious. Like
Yeah, I know.
there's a it's like full on porno music while they have a threesome in a bubble bath and it's
Yeah.
it's so funny.
Well, it is. It's crazy. I mean, and obviously like, they do the same thing in Knock Knock, where it's like these two like attractive women just show up to this guy's house who has a family, but his family is gone, and he's got the house to himself. And it's like the whole thing is, then these women are, not right in the head and are going to do something evil to him and try to kill him, but first torture him. But I was like, I don't know. I mean, this is tough. I kind of feel like if I was home alone for the weekend and Sydney Sweeney and Dua Lipa showed up at the door and were like putting on like a hardcore press that they're like, hey, Matt, we'd really like to get down, the three of us. I feel like even Lindsay would be like, well, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, I'm
It
not gonna
is.
say anything.
Well, I'm
But
joking, of course.
but
It,
it's awesome because it's such like a simple concept, but it just works so well.
yeah,
Especially, I mean, just for any male viewer, I would say, um, it's just one of those situations where you put yourself in his shoes like you just did, and you're like, well, shit, yeah, I mean, you could
it,
probably fall for this too, and then
but
where
he
it
paid
goes
for it.
is just insane and
Yes.
wild, and I think it ends differently. Knock Knock is definitely a little different, so if you've seen Knock Knock
Yeah,
but you
yeah,
haven't seen this, it plays out a little differently, but yeah, it's just like terrifying because like
yeah,
at, so after the threesome, it's like scary in one way because you're like George is like, I don't want my family to find out about this and like have my life destroyed.
hmm
And then it slowly turns into more of like, oh well, these chicks are gonna kill me, like
which sounds fun in its own way. How
yeah,
how good, by the way, is the ending of Knock Knock? I love the ending of Knock Knock. Do you
yeah.
remember it or no?
To be honest, I'm not really remembering. I haven't seen it since it first came out.
Okay, which is like 10 years now.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do something with Knock Knock at some point on this show, but yeah, my one thing that I didn't really like about this one is that original piece of music that they wrote for the movie, which I think is, the song about my dad or whatever.
Yeah, I thought it was great just
No,
because it kind of adds like a comedic element to it a
yeah.
little bit.
So I also think it's great, but there's sequences in the movie where I feel like I'm not really thrilled with that being the score, because they kind of use like a score version of it too.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
But I do love the song. Like I think it's funny, and it does add like a weird, almost carnival funhouse element to the movie.
Yeah.
But there's sequences that I feel like they use that song that I kind of wish that they used other music for. But that's it. I still think it's a really fun watch, and it was one of those ones that like I knew that it was in the works to have a release, and like back then you couldn't stream it like anywhere, and I had never seen it, but I just knew that it existed, and it was what inspired Knock Knock. So when it finally was put out by Grindhouse Releasing, it was like an immediate buy for me, and I'll tell you this, Keith, no regrets.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to add that one to my collection because I have a couple other Grindhouse releasing Blu-rays, Pieces and Cannibal Holocaust. I think are also Grindhouse releasing movies. But
Okay, well, I'm glad you liked it.
yeah,
Okay, so we're gonna try to do one more episode for the month of October. We're gonna really give it a shot.
well, we can do it. We got a couple
Yeah.
weeks, don't
Yeah.
we? I don't,
Yeah, we'll get it done because I really want to do the Spotlight movie for that.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. We got a good one coming. We're gonna do. I'm just gonna tell the people if you're still listening. We're gonna do H2O, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
we can tease it. It's fine.
yeah, no, I'm not laughing at you for that. I just like that you're telling just the people that are still listening.
Yeah,
Also, for the people who aren't listening,
yeah.
you
I'll
know
post
what?
it on Instagram or something.
For the
Okay.
people who aren't listening, there's the door.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. Check us out on YouTube if you're listening on Apple or Spotify. You can find us on YouTube at High Volume Video, and please leave us a rating and review if you're listening on Apple or Spotify. I think you can leave reviews on Spotify.
I don't know that, but
help spread the word.
please.
All right. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Return to VideoTech.